Buckle up, folks, because today's story is shaking up both the political and entertainment worlds. You've likely heard of John Fetterman, the Democratic senator from Pennsylvania, known for his bold stances on justice, equality, and fairness. But what you might not expect is his latest headline making move. Fetterman is suing The View host Sunny Hostin and the show's producers. Yes, you read that right. This isn't just another celebrity feud or baseless tabloid rumor. It's a full scale legal battle that has everyone talking. The lawsuit has pulled political drama straight into the realm of daytime television, leaving fans and critics alike stunned. So, what exactly happened to spark this clash between politics and pop culture? And why is it causing such a stir? Stick with us as we unpack the details of this high profile dispute and explore why this story matters far beyond those directly involved.
Bus.
That about the J6 people too, though, right? That's what they're going to say on the other side. That is
No,
weaponized also.
I'm not referring to that. I'm talking about the New York trial. And now the Democrats on our side there were some that were gleeful calling it like now he's a convicted felon and those things. And now for our party, we were talking about criminal justice and we are now talking about second chances. And now all of a sudden now you're like, well, he's a convicted felon and all these things. And now clearly, again, both of those trials, the Hunter Biden one and the trial in New York for Trump, that was politically motivated. And those kinds of charges would have never been brought unless one side could they realize that they could weaponize that.
Let's start with John Fetterman. The Pennsylvania senator is no stranger to the spotlight, having built a reputation as someone unafraid to speak his mind and challenge the status quo. Over the years, Fetterman has become known for his fierce advocacy, standing up for the underrepresented and calling out injustices wherever he sees them. Whether it's fighting for fairness or confronting controversial issues head-on, he's shown he's not afraid to ruffle feathers, including calling out the media when he believes they've crossed a line. So, when Fetterman appeared on The View for a taping, most expected a lively but typical segment, spirited discussions on politics, current events, and maybe some light banter. As fans know, The View isn't exactly known for pulling punches. Its hosts, especially Sunny Hostin, are famously candid and opinionated. What no one anticipated, however, was a sudden shift in tone during the segment, which turned a routine appearance into something far more serious. Reports suggest that Hostin made remarks during the live broadcast that Fetterman found deeply troubling. While the exact details of the comments remain unclear due to the ongoing legal process, Fetterman's response has been swift and decisive. He alleges the remarks were defamatory, claims that they harmed his reputation in ways that go far beyond mere hurt feelings, sparking a legal battle that's now front and center.
If they had a placebo group and they had a vaccine group because they wanted for military readiness to see if the flu shot was prophylactic against coronavirus. What they found is actually the people who got the flu shot were 36% more likely to get coronavirus. And that's not a lone study. We found 6 other major studies that say the same thing. If you get the flu shot, you're more likely to get coronavirus. Look, all you have to do, Alan, and this is what Cochrane said, is look what's happened to longevity in the elderly since we started mandating the flu shot to elderly people. Those are the people who their life expectancy has dramatically gone down as the flu shot proliferated. And if you see, the people who died during the COVID crisis.
This is a big deal, and here's why. In today's world, media wields enormous influence over public perception. When a senator like John Fetterman feels misrepresented or unfairly criticized, it's not just a personal issue, it's something with far-reaching implications. This kind of situation impacts the broader conversation about media ethics and responsibility, and that's exactly why Fetterman is taking legal action. But why should we care? Sure, it's an intriguing legal squabble, but what does it matter to those of us who aren't directly involved? The answer lies in the bigger issues this case brings to light. We live in an era defined by social media, 24/7 news cycles, and endless online commentary. It's a time when the line between free speech and defamation has become increasingly blurry. Media outlets like The View, with their massive platforms and devoted audiences, have a unique responsibility to carefully consider not just what they say, but how they say it. Fetterman's lawsuit isn't just about him, it's about setting a precedent. He's making a bold statement about accountability in journalism and public discourse. He's arguing that having a platform as influential as The View doesn't give anyone carte blanche to say whatever they want without consequences. With millions of viewers tuning in daily, the hosts of The View have a significant responsibility. When a comment crosses the line into personal attack or misrepresentation, it can't simply be brushed off. In Fetterman's view, the producers and hosts of The View failed in their responsibility by allowing harmful remarks to air unchecked. For him, this lawsuit is not just about defending his own reputation, it's about challenging media outlets to recognize the power they wield and to wield it responsibly. It's a call to ensure that public figures and the media engage in fair and ethical discourse.
It's his son, after all, and people do have sympathy for that. But a lot of people are angry with him about it. What do you say?
Oh, well, I think it's undeniable that the case against Hunter Biden was really politically motivated, but I also think it's true that the trial in New York for Trump that was political as well too. Now it's that, and in both cases, I think a pardon is appropriate, and I really think collectively, America's confidence in these kinds of institutions have been damaged by these kinds of cases, and we cannot allow these kinds of institutions to be weaponized against our political opponents. And it's very clear both trials were politically motivated and weaponized that on the other side.
Let's talk about Sunny Hostin. Known for her candid opinions and bold commentary, Hostin is no stranger to controversy. It's part of what makes her such a prominent figure on The View. But in this case, her outspokenness may have gone too far. Was her remark just a blunt opinion, or did it cross the line into defamation? That's a question for the courts to decide. The larger issue, however, is whether public figures with massive platforms should be able to speak without facing consequences for their words. Fetterman's lawsuit isn't just about one comment or one show. It's about tackling the broader issue of media accountability. In an age where misinformation spreads like wildfire, Fetterman is highlighting how the media shapes public opinion and what happens when those opinions are built on false or harmful statements. With today's hyper-connected world, where viral moments can take off in seconds, the stakes for responsible journalism and public discourse have never been higher.
In a new Netflix documentary series about New York Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers, he said he's heartbroken about friends and family cutting him off for his controversial political views and conspiracy theories. And a lot of Americans can relate to this, especially after this last election. So, do you think it happens everywhere?
What I recall about him is when he was asked about the COVID-19 pandemic, during the height of the pandemic, when people had lost loved ones, when people's family members were missing from their Thanksgiving table, like my table, he said, "I'm immunized." And as it turns out, he was not. He had done his own research. He has his Google MD like I do. And I think he said he was allergic to something in the vaccine, but he had COVID and he was in a huddle with his teammates. And I think people felt like, wow, you don't care. You're not your brother's keeper.
This could really, this could really turn me against
a morality.
Are you telling me that?
Let's zoom out for a moment and consider the broader implications of this lawsuit. At its core, this situation underscores the delicate balance between free speech and defamation. On one hand, the ability to freely express opinions is a cornerstone of democracy. On the other, individuals must be protected from the harm caused by false or malicious statements. Striking that balance is no easy task, and Fetterman's case puts this issue front and center. As this legal battle unfolds, it could set a significant precedent for future clashes involving public figures, the media, and the fine line between free speech and slander. In an age of instant information sharing, where a single comment can go viral within moments, it's more important than ever to consider the real impact of words, especially when those words are broadcast to millions. So what do you think? Did The View cross a line, or is Fetterman overreacting? Is this lawsuit a principled stand for accountability, or could it be an effort to regain control of his public image? These are fascinating and complex questions that touch on defamation law, media ethics, and the intersection of politics and public discourse. Whatever the outcome, this case is bound to spark important conversations.
In a million years, I would not take the flu shot. And I'll tell you why, because this is what Cochrane and BMJ have found. People who take the flu shot are protected against that strain of flu. They're 4.4 times more likely to get a non-flu infection. And you might find, and a lot of people do, that they get the flu shot and then they get sick. They're usually not getting the flu. They're getting something that is indistinguishable from the flu, because the flu shot gives you something called pathogenic priming. It injures your immune system so that you're more likely to get a non-flu viral upper respiratory infection. In fact, the Pentagon published a story, and you can cite this, it's by Wolfe, W-O-L-F-E, in January of this year, in which they said that the flu shot not only primes you for flu, but it primes you for coronavirus.
Whatever your take on the situation, one thing is clear. This lawsuit is much bigger than a personal battle between John Fetterman and The View. It's part of a broader conversation about the responsibilities of media outlets and the immense power they hold in shaping public opinion. As this case unfolds, it's sparking important discussions about media ethics, accountability, and the balance between free speech and defamation. Legal experts are already weighing in, debating how the outcome of this case could impact the way public figures are covered in the media moving forward. Meanwhile, the rest of us are watching closely, eager to see whether Fetterman's charges hold up in court, or if this will prove to be just another fleeting dispute that eventually fades into the background. Either way, this legal showdown highlights the intersection of politics, media, and law, and its implications are likely to be far-reaching. So, where do you stand on this? Is Fetterman justified in taking legal action, or is this much ado about nothing? Should media outlets like The View face greater accountability for their words, or is this a threat to free expression? Whether you're captivated by the political drama, intrigued by the ethical dilemmas, or just love a high-stakes legal battle, this is a story that's bound to keep us talking. We'll be keeping a close eye on this evolving situation, so stay tuned for updates as this dramatic ride continues. No matter how this ends, one thing's for sure. It's already left a mark on how we think about public discourse, media responsibility, and the ever-blurring lines between opinion and defamation in today's fast-paced world.